Welcome, everyone, to a mini-series I'm calling Pocket Reviews. This is a show where I, your host, Andrew Luttrell, will be watching a movie, giving a short 15 to 20 minute long review, and most of the time sharing my thoughts with a guest. This guest will be sharing their thoughts and opinions about the movie as well. While this is not a Patreon-exclusive mini-series, this show is brought to you by the Talk This Way podcast Patreon. For those of you who don't know, Patreon is a place where people can go to support their favorite creators while getting awesome benefits in return. By joining one of the tiers your creator offers, you will get different benefits. For example, the Talk This Way podcast Patreon tier for $3 a month, otherwise known as the J.J. Abrams tier, will give you early access to content, discount codes for merch and other products, special Patreon shoutouts, and a free sticker. This is just one of the 5 different tiers that the Talk This Way podcast Patreon has to offer. Be sure to check it out if you enjoy our content and want to support us as well as get awesome exclusives. The link is in the bio of the episode. Shang-Chi, the master of unarmed weaponry-based kung fu, is forced to confront his past after being drawn into the Ten Rings organization. Shang-Chi was released on September 3rd, 2021. It made, gross to date, $94,674,848. Opening weekend, which was from September 3rd through September 5th, it made $75 million. But gross worldwide, it made $150 million, which it doesn't have any budget information released yet, but you can imagine $150 million. Usually, most of the time, Marvel budgets are upwards of in the 200 range or closer to the, $500 million range, but 150 million is not bad. It's getting there. Definitely not Endgame level, but it's getting there. But yeah, this movie was incredible. I really, really do want to talk about it, but me and my guest for this episode talked about it really well, so I'll leave most of that explanation for him. Hey, there he is.
Hey,
Hey, man, what's up?
nothing much. It's actually going to be on this side of this podcast. It's a different perspective for sure.
Right. No, man, that's awesome. I'm so excited to have you on here finally. I've been trying to figure out a way to do it, and I found, just with this mini series that I'm doing, I found that this is a perfect opportunity for it. So,
Nice.
what is your absolute dream job?
Ooh, well, currently I'm actually working at a wood shop in Nashville, and it's pretty great. So it's woodworking is not the type of job a lot of people my age uh, aspire to. So it's definitely an interesting change from the norm, but I really love it. So I guess dream job would hopefully someday be a successful carpenter of some sort.
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's super cool. What kind of stuff are you building or making or all that?
So at this shop, I guess this isn't sponsored, but I'll give them a free shout out. Let's go
Yeah, right.
Goodwood, but Goodwood Nashville, we do a lot. It's called our one-stop wood shop. So we do a bunch of custom projects, whether that be tables, sometimes chairs, or accent walls, or mantles, shelving systems, all that. It's really fun. So I do a lot of that, as well as smaller projects at home. For example, the other day I hand carved a 2D Mandalorian helmet, and
Nice.
so yeah, it's a bunch of either big table projects or smaller kind of hobby stuff like that. But all sorts of
Dude, that's awesome. I'm so jealous. Like the
things.
stuff that I do at my job is more or less like cabinetry kind of stuff, Like it's big, but it's not like super big like that.
Mhm.
Um I have built a couple Murphy beds though. But dude, that's awesome. I didn't know you did that. That's super cool. Oh, that's okay. I have another question just because I'm curious then. Uh what's the coolest thing you've ever made?
Oh, last let's see, I think it was last January. I made my brother this table. It was a corner table. So I had to piece together a bunch of, it was made out of walnut. So I had to uh, mill a bunch of walnut down to size and then glue it together and then cut it out at a perfect 90-degree right triangle, and I had to do that twice, and then connect it with some walls, and then square out the inside of it so that it was perfectly 12 and a half inches deep and 14 inches tall, so you could fit vinyl records in there.
Dude.
And it had just enough room on top for a turntable. So that's probably my favorite. I think that was one of the coolest, just because of I call it my Pythagorean table because of all the triangles going on. Also, that
Right.
sounds cooler than, oh yeah, I made a triangle.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'll
So
take 3. I'm just kidding. That's so cool, man. I'm jealous. I'm low-key jealous. Okay. All right, but let's get into this. So we went, or not necessarily together, but we both saw the new Shang-Chi movie, which is made by Marvel. What were your thoughts about this movie's like plot, story, characters, cinematography, all that stuff?
all right, well, let's see. Plot. Overall, I really enjoyed the film. I thought it's different than a lot of Marvel movies now. I feel Marvel is almost I mean, they've definitely found a rut, an algorithm, if you will, that they like to
Mm-hmm.
follow as close as they can. Um, I feel like that it's got a bit repetitive with some movies. I'm not saying, in general, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's definitely become apparent.
Right,
So
right.
I liked that this movie kind of broke that. It had a different sense of comedy, a different air to it, a different the characters almost seemed well, not almost, but they seemed childlike in a way that honestly I feel most people past a certain age wish they could still feel. And
Mm,
that kind of brought this wonder to the film in a way that a lot of Marvel movies don't anymore, where it's like, oh, we're getting old, my I can't fly too far anymore, with all this armor on me, and anyway. But
right,
I
right.
think I think it was cool that they brought sort of a more um uplifting air to it, as opposed to
Yeah.
the past several Marvel
Yeah.
movies, TV series.
That's
Um,
true.
definitely.
Oh man, that's so true.
Cinematography wise, it was gorgeous.
Right?
I've I've always been a sucker for like traditional Chinese dragons. That style, that has always been my favorite type of dragon. I've always loved dragon. That's been my favorite animal
Oh
since I was
yeah.
since I was able to have a favorite animal.
Right.
And well, that one and Toothless, which I don't know if your podcast is gonna do a How to Train Your Dragon review, but definitely have
we
me. That's gonna be a thing.
we have low key thought about doing a DreamWorks trilogy. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, that's cool.
Well, but yeah. So back to Shang Chi. The cinematography definitely was very gorgeous in a way that they incorporated a lot of modern, I mean, definitely modern technology,
Right.
with more traditional styles, like the dragon. A massive Chinese dragon erupts out of this lake, and it's gorgeous to see. Um, really, that must have been my favorite scene visually. Like filmmaking wise, that scaffolding fight scene looked
Mm,
amazing. And I know it was green screen and all that, but still, the way that they pulled that off, that scene was captivating enough that you didn't really focus on the green screen as much.
right.
Uh, you were like, oh my gosh, these guys are 1,000 feet off the ground
Yeah.
fighting on scaffolding, like you
On
know,
scaffolding made of like the bamboo. Like
yeah, yeah,
it wasn't even like metal scaffolding. I mean, there was like it was held together by rope. Like what?
with the occasional 2x4 just for some.
Right. Well, yes, of course. It is in modern day, so
Yeah, you have
that's
to have
awesome.
to have it.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess that's plot, that's cinematography. Let's see what else.
I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head. The characters, like, I personally would say that the acting was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, the only one I had a problem with, I think, was maybe the female lead to the main lead. Not the sister, but the girlfriend, I guess.
It was
Um,
Aquafina, I believe, is the actress's name.
okay. Yeah, I don't know, she just didn't really hit anything home for me as far as acting.
Mhm.
But and I'll say that with this, like it started out that way, but then I kind of got used to her, I guess, as a person, and I kind of was like, okay, this isn't bad, like she's doing actually pretty good. portraying this, level of emotion. I guess maybe it was her voice that I was having a hard time connecting on, and like her tone. I couldn't
Yeah,
really match an emotion to some of what she was doing and saying. It kind of all pooled together, I guess. Does that
yeah,
make sense? Like I couldn't
yeah,
really
yeah,
tell when she was like sad or angry or happy, you know,
yeah.
sometimes.
I definitely agree. She is. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm relatively sure she is a stand-up comedian. So
Okay.
she
Yeah.
she has found a voice and a character within herself that she portrays. She's been in other movies like that film Crazy Rich Asians. She was in that
Hmm.
one.
Yep.
She's been in several, but the I'm I could be wrong, but I think she may have been in that movie Raya and the Last Dragon. I could be wrong though. Correct me
Okay.
if so. But she's definitely found her character, and she has found a way to portray um, that very specific character in each of her roles.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely agree. Sometimes the her emotions weren't as easy to follow, and sometimes like specific scenarios weren't as believable, like the way that she acted. But I do believe that is partially due to the character she's created of herself. But
Right. Right. Which again, that's what I'm saying. Like as the movie
yeah,
progressed, I got used to it and I enjoyed it. So
yeah.
yeah, totally. Totally. So yeah, what was your favorite scene or part of this movie?
Favorite scene, I have to say, was either the scaffolding fight scene or the dragon fight
I
towards the end.
I figured it was going to be one of those two.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. No, those I mean, I would probably say for me the scaffolding for sure. That
yeah.
was that was so badass. That was
The
so cool.
choreography. I mean, even if it was CGI and green screen, all that, even still, the choreography that went into the actual actors or stunt doubles, or and even the motion capture, like the
Right.
CGI that goes into that, having it flow that smoothly,
Right.
uh, was really, really visually very impressive.
Oh yeah. And it wasn't like and that's one thing I loved about this movie is that it wasn't normal like quote unquote like martial arts like that we saw with like Black Widow how she was kind of fighting like it's this was like almost like a you know Asian culture type of
Yeah,
martial arts
I'm
specifically.
not gonna lie. At the scene, I can't remember her name, but Shang-Chi's mother, when
Hmm.
she was fighting his father before they were together,
Right.
towards the beginning of the film, I, not realizing that my mom did not know what this was, leaned over and I said, "I think she's an airbender." Um, with
Oh my gosh, your mom probably was like, "Wait, what movie did we go see?"
she's like, "What is that?" I was like, "Never mind, it's okay."
Dude, that's funny. That's that's awesome. And then so what was your favorite character in this movie? Or
Ooh,
who?
favorite character. This might be a little controversial, but the dad, maybe.
Dude. I was going to
His,
say the same thing, bro.
yeah, his like his the just the character development that went into it. You could see, I mean, the one thing that I really have always found interesting and really loved is perspective and
Hmm.
everything that goes into opinion and bias. And I feel like, of course, I mean, for example, I thought of this with I know I'm referencing a lot of movies and getting sidetracked,
Right.
but
You're
in
good.
Karate Kid, they made it very apparent that Daniel was the good guy and that Johnny was a bad guy. And
Hmm.
there was a lot of speculation and theories that said, actually, I think Johnny might be the good guy of the show and Daniel is the bad guy. And here's why.
Yeah.
It didn't really come out on screen until the show Cobra Kai, where they kind of
Right.
explained that. So to get back on track, I've always loved perspective, and I feel like because Marvel was still to a degree definitely following their algorithm,
Right.
they had to have a very specific bad guy that you rooted for to lose.
Yes.
But what they did differently with this one is it wasn't just like, oh, Thanos, he's evil. We have to kill him, and it wasn't like Ultron or I mean even Killmonger still had some aspects
Right.
to him that were back and forth, but it wasn't a very traditional Marvel villain that's evil. Um,
Right.
it was, yes, he was lost and he had a lot of crap going on that he was trying to deal with, and he took that out the wrong way, but you could see he was doing everything that he thought was right, even though it wasn't entirely the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
Until the end, where he realized and essentially had his redemptive arc within that last 4 minutes of his life. But it was,
Oh man.
I really, really liked that dynamic about how they didn't just set him up to be the bad guy and then kill him. Everybody's like, yeah, the bad guy's dead. They set it up to where he's an actual person with perspective and with a personality that is being morphed and controlled by something other than other characters, if that makes sense.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. He's that development and everything. I mean, literally everything you said. It's like, oh, it just was so good because he like, and you could tell that his character development and the effect it had on other characters. I mean, his son, the main character, was crying. When he realized he had to make a decision. And it's just like you felt that it wasn't just like, oh, he's the dad, he's the bad guy, he has to do what he has to do. It was like, oh my gosh, this is his dad who is being manipulated. Like I don't think I would be willing to kill my, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think I would be willing to make that decision, but he realizes that he has no choice because his dad is so powerful.
Yeah.
And just the ramifications of what his dad could do.
Right.
What did you think about about this movie bringing back the Mandarin?
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was another scene. That was another scene that my mom didn't get. But I was watching that. He came on screen. I was like, "Holy crap, it's Trevor!" She's like, "Who is Trevor?" I was like, "Okay." So to sum this up really fast, Iron Man 3, one of the best characters in the whole movie, if not honestly one of my favorite Marvel characters, was manipulated into this role, and it was brilliant. And they brought him back. Oh my gosh! But she was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's okay. I'll explain it later. Just enjoy Trevor for now."
Exactly. Oh
But
my gosh.
that was that was something I not expecting at all for them to bring him back.
I
So that
know.
was a nice surprise for sure.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like everybody that I was sitting next to was smiling, like we were like, "Oh my gosh." And there were people in the back just cheering. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. Yeah, those are all my questions, man. I guess I have one more. And this is just what would you rate it? Like your own personal rating, 1 out of 100.
Yeah, 1 out of 100. I've thought a lot about this actually. I kind of saw this question coming, and I've thought,
Yeah.
in overall of all of, I mean, I guess it depends. So I'm gonna do some different. I'll give you two different ratings. One
Okay.
within the Marvel perspective, and then one within a movie perspective in general.
Okay.
Within Marvel, my current favorite Marvel movie. I say current because it changes. Obviously, when I was a kid, it was Iron Man 2, and then
Yep.
after a while, it was obviously like Spider Man, and
Yeah.
now it is Thor Ragnarok. Um,
Yes.
but those each have a consistent, I guess, like I said earlier, in this talk was childlike ish. I guess Iron Man 2 didn't have much childlike, but I grew up with that movie, kind of
Yeah.
similarly to how you, I think you said you grew up with Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Um,
Yep. Yep.
so it similarly, for me, that's why I liked that movie so much. And then, um, Thor Ragnarok as my current, because it's just so good and so funny, and I love Taika Waititi, the director. Um, so I guess to rate this movie Shang-Chi within a Marvel scope, I would probably have to rate it definitely no lower than, let's say, an 89,
Okay.
but probably no higher than a 95, because they're obviously, I mean, like you kind of touched on, Aquafina's character, her humor was very niche and very specific,
Yes.
and didn't fit all of the scenes, and I feel like for a character aspect she was very funny but didn't quite click as well as she could have and or should have.
Right.
um
Right.
and there were just like a few minor things that, obviously, I mean, it's very, very difficult for me to give anything a full 100, but
Right. You and
not
Brandon both.
in between a 89 and a 95, that's still pretty freaking good.
Yeah, no, I mean,
within the
you're right
Marvel.
there within the Rotten Tomato score, so
Yeah. Oh, I
that's
haven't actually
awesome.
checked that yet, but and then I
Yeah,
guess within a movie scope in general of all of the movies I've seen, I mean, I've seen lots, lots and lots of movies,
right.
but as a general scope, just compared to other things that I enjoy, I guess, very close. I would rate it in between an 80 and an 87, somewhere in between.
Nice. Okay,
So
nice.
for
Awesome.
similar reasons, it was very good. It was a very happy movie, a very
Yeah,
enjoyable movie, but it didn't have very specific things that I look for in a movie.
yeah,
Um, like I very, I mean, I've talked to you about this, but your podcast listeners don't know. One of my favorite films, in general, is the Alien franchise, specifically the first
yes,
and second ones. And I really love that suspense type thing. This movie had some of that, but not an overwhelming amount, which I guess it's, a family Marvel movie, so it's not going to have too much. But
right.
that's something I definitely look for as a edge of your seat factor, um,
Yes,
and a just a very very compelling, like almost when you're reading a book and you have to, like a page turner, I guess you just have to keep turning the page, keep reading. It
right.
was one of those movies that I enjoyed the whole time, but it wasn't per se one of those movies that's like, I need more, I need more, I need to just keep going forever. It was like it was over.
Right.
Like, I enjoyed that movie. That was a very good movie, but I'm not entirely like, oh my gosh, I need a sequel.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess that's where I stand rating wise.
Okay. That's good, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely agree with you with all of that. I would not give it as high as Rotten Tomatoes has, which I think I stated it already in the episode, maybe not. But anyway, the tomato meter for it, which is the critics, is 93%, and then the audience score is 98.
Mm.
When me and Brandon and my girlfriend Julia went to go see this movie, the Rotten Tomato audience score was actually 99%. So it was almost at 100.
So you guys
But then,
brought it down.
yeah. But yeah, so when I checked it, after after writing the script, I was like, oh, which was, several days later, I was like, oh, okay, it dropped down a mark.
Yeah.
So, but even then, I still probably wouldn't give it more than 90. I would probably keep it under 90,
Yeah.
but definitely above 85 because I enjoyed it. I agree. I left the theater feeling content. I left the theater
Yes.
going, nice. The only thing I was like, whatever about was Captain Marvel at the end. I was just like, that didn't need to be in there, but whatever. But I'm just picking on Captain Marvel because I don't like her. Anyway. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for doing this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you guys could give this movie 1 out of 100 shiny bracelets, how many would it be? Be sure to leave your answer in the comments or message us on Patreon. Thank you all so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.